Welcome back to ESA Summer Online. We are raising money for Alzheimer Fonden. Links to donate can be found below the stream. We'd also like to thank Kabrisky, Twitch, and ViewSonic for sponsoring this event. Now it's time for hypnoshark to take it away with Crash Nitro Kart any %.
Alright, I may as well just start with Speedrun first and then we'll get back into like the story and how to play this game afterwards. But yeah, I'll count you in. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so first of all I may as well mention, actual timing would start here as the cutscene fades in, but marathon timing, you guys get it. So I'll just quickly go over the story because the story is very impactful and, you know, it's a tearjerker, you know, but they put a lot of time into it. So basically there's this big green alien called Emperor Velo the 27th who wants you to race for his people's entertainment. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to basically just try and beat him at the end of it to prove that we're better. Yeah, good story, as I said before. Well, oh my gosh, the AI. One thing you will see in this game is a lot of drifting sideways in a go-kart. This game might look a lot like familiar to you if you've played Crash Team Racing or Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. It uses a lot of the same physics, and I will be drawing some parallels to it, or to both those games, across the entirety of this run. But basically, you hold the R trigger down and hit the left trigger when the meter is at the top of that like little bar there, and it's like in the red, to get like a full boost. And as you can see, the boost counter is going up every time we do that. This game's main tech, if you will, is called reserves, and how we're going to manage the reserves. Basically what a reserve is your right to keep the speed that you currently possess. So right now I have the fastest speed that you can get in the game, which I got by going off one of these green and black turbo pads that you'll see here, right here. And the more I boost, the more time I keep this speed for. So you can get up to like incredible amounts of boosts, I'm sure. Hopefully, as long as I don't suck throughout the remainder of the run, you'll see me get over 100. But for now, that's the first track, pretty basic stuff. One thing that is nice, actually, I'll mention it here as we're in a loading screen, it's pretty apropos, is that the loading screens on the Xbox version, which is the version we're going to be playing on, are ridiculously fast compared to the PlayStation 2 versions and the Nintendo GameCube version. If you played this game as a kid, you may have been wondering, like, how are the loading times so fast? Well, that's why, because the Xbox loads are insane. Alright, next track, Jungle Boogie. The first track really didn't have too much to mention, but this one has stuff right off the bat. We're going to try and get rid of this item as quick as we can to get this, like, X-shaped box. That's unfortunate. Basically, from the X-shaped box, or the box that has an X on it, rather. It's not X-shaped. You get items of 3, and there's a very, very high chance, well, not very high, but a certainly, like, reliable chance that you can pull a boost item, which straight up gives you the speed of this turbo pad that I went off just over this grass shortcut here. It gives you it without going off that turbo pad, so you can save it like 2 seconds for pretty much free if you get lucky there. Nothing too much to mention besides the shortcuts there. But I just went off, and this one right off this jump here. Gonna go inside the item that I placed at the start of this race. And yeah, that's not too bad, not too shabby at all. I should be looking for like 28.5, 28.6 laps. That lap 2 was actually pretty fantastic. As we get to the end of this race, you'll notice that I have absolutely 0 Wumpa Fruit. The Wumpa Fruit is the counter next to the item boxes. Next to the item you pull from the item boxes. Just to the right of it. Wumpa Fruit, unlike Crash Team Racing before it and Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled after it, again, two very similar games to this. Those games, Wumpa Fruit increases your speed by like a considerable amount. I believe it's 2% in the original CTR. But in this game, Wumpa Fruit does barely anything. So for the most part, if we get 10 Wumpa Fruit, it'll just be because the Wumpa crates are in the way. So we won't really be looking at those much during this run. Especially as most of the crates, as you know, hinted at earlier, are pretty out of your way. Like that one to the left there, it's like way out of the way. It's just not worth going for in this game. This is the first track which has what this game is known for and what really sets it apart from the other two Crash Bandicoot racing games. Anti-gravity. You're gonna see it here. It's actually like really cool. It's so cool that Mario Kart 8 decided it'd be a good idea to yoink it. So yeah, Mario Kart 8 stole from Crash Nitro Kart, the more you know. But yeah, this game obviously again shares a lot of like parallels with Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, and this track that's also in Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled is very different. If you've played NF Nitro Fueled, you may have like been thinking to yourself, this looks nothing like Tiny Temple, and well, yeah, it's incredibly different, both in terms of how the track looks and also like how long it takes. So if like, for example, you've played Nitro Fueled, you'll know that the lap times are like ridiculously short compared to this, because optimally here you want to be getting around like 43-44 second laps, which is probably what this will be. 43.8 is going to be my guess here. Yeah, 43.6, that's actually really good. But yeah, whereas in Nitro Fueled you can get like sub 30 laps, just because the track is like that much different. But yeah, something that I didn't even mention, because they're just not important at all in this track, is these fire cycles here. Again, that's another difference between this game and NF, drawing a lot of parallels already actually. Or a lot of differences rather, is that those fire cycles barely, like, their hitbox is like minuscule in this game. You can just drive like down the side that they're on, no matter what. Whereas in Nitro Fueled you just can't, because the fire hitbox is huge. Yeah, 124 boosts there. That was actually really, really solid. Alright, not bad, not bad. So, again, in this game, unlike the original Crash Team Racing and Nitro Fueled as well, where every area has 4 tracks to drive and then a boss, this game only has 3 tracks to drive and a boss. But I suppose you could argue it makes up for that with the length of each track being quite a bit longer than the original game, than the original CTR. But yeah, the first boss of Terra, which is this like overworld, I guess, is called Crunk, and yeah, we're just gonna beat him basically. In an ideal world, if everything goes according to plan in this boss fight, we can actually lap him if we just take like solid lines here. If you do get behind him, like if you're playing it casually and like you get stuck behind the bosses in this game, the bosses can actually be like really annoying, because they drop items behind them that are unique to them. So Crunk drops like these like red, like spiky, like balls, I guess. Like they're kind of weird, but and they act like TNT, so where if you get one on your head, you have to jump to get it off, and if you don't like jump enough times while it's on your head, it will blow up. But yeah, like if you're just like this and you're just like miles ahead of the boss, then the boss is really like any other race, where you can just kind of play it like you're racing like a trophy race, and it's completely fine. But yeah, now would be a good time actually to bring up the fact that each world has 3 tracks and then a boss, but also there's a final boss, obviously being Emperor Velo. Also, we are going to lap him here. Let's see if I can hit him for fun. Ah, I tried. But yeah, that was good, because we lapped him. Like, that's a very good sign, but that was a good Crunk fight. And while we're loading into the next area, which is called Baron, I will hand it over to Ash, who hopefully has some things to say.
Oh, I do. We actually have a $50 donation from Mage with no comments. Thank you so much, Mage, for the generous donation. That is very awesome of you. And I would just like to remind everyone that your bids can actually go towards different sort of incentives that we have for the runs and different bid wars right now. And the most interesting one that I'm having my eyes on is Shovel Knight Shovel of Hope, where there's only one file name that is being bid on, no other competitors. So I really would like to see a competitor name in there. If you guys can squeeze that in before the run coming up next, that would be amazing. Thank you guys.
Alrighty, so the first snow level of 2, I believe, in this game, Meteor Gorge. Very similar to Blizzard Bluff in the original CTR, and similarly to that, it has like quite a few skips. One of them being very intended, the other one not so. The one being intended, that's coming up right up, is you head to the left, and you can actually get Turbo Pad Fire off this, which again, as previously mentioned, is the fastest speed in the game. And then you have 2 unintended shortcuts right here, one through the deep snow, and then another. If you jump off that little hump and don't go into the deep snow before jumping, you can basically keep like normal speed through the deep snow by spamming hop, by just spamming the right trigger over and over and over. Even though, well, saying spamming isn't exactly giving it like that much credit. You actually have to like time your hops to a certain extent. Otherwise, if you like miss time one, you'll just like not jump, and then it'll be slow. So I'm gonna say right away from the deep snow and then hop into it, because if you touch the deep snow at all, you will have that speed no matter what throughout the shortcut, which loses about 1.5 seconds. But yeah, this run has actually been pretty decent so far. Very nice. 33.48 last lap. Yeah, anything sub 33.50 is like a really solid lap. That's nice. There's my boy Dingo on the loading screen. What a Chad. Next up, Barren Ruins, which is, I guess, the track that the overworld is named after. This track is really the first track to introduce cycles. Besides Tiny Temple, but the fire cycles there really weren't that important. These are going to be important though. You can see the robots just to the right of me and now to the left of me there. They are going to become very important. So there's a cycle that I have to beat on lap 1. Luckily I have a shield which can help, but the robots, unfortunately I found this out the hard way, actually have 2 hitboxes. So even though this shield item that I have should protect me, its iframes run out really quickly, its invincibility frames, and I actually end up getting hit anyway because of its 2 hitboxes. I made the cycle though, so we're in there. So yeah, shield items in this game are really bad, honestly. Like, the idea of a shield item is to protect you, but it has absolutely no invincibility frames at all. So if anything has 2 hitboxes, it just kills you, like these robots here. One thing that is worth mentioning for sure that I haven't really touched upon yet is the reserve system. English is a hard language, thank you. So every time I boost, as previously mentioned, I'm extending the amount of time I keep the current speed that I have for. However, reserves run out pretty quickly, which is why I'm like constantly drifting and boosting, just to barely stay ahead and barely keep my speed, right? If I get a lot of reserves built up, so I actually don't need to drift for a long period of time, I can hug the wall like I am right now, and just like spam hop to stay really tight. And because that part is on ice physics, it's important to like have reserves built up for that section, because drifting on it will just put you super duper wide. So you actually want to build up a lot of reserves on this section, on like lap 1 and 2, so that you can do that strat on lap 3. A lot of planning ahead in this level for sure, especially when you have to take for account the cycles as well. Yeah, not bad. No sub 40 lap, I don't think, unless this was. Nah, not quite. But yeah, still really good. Really solid. 202 is very nice for Barren Ruins. Okay, now for definitely the hardest track in the early game. Like, 100%, there's no doubt about it. Another cycle-based level, but the cycles actually mean a lot more in this level than they ever did in Barren Ruins. Like, a lot more. And, because the boss fight of this world, Nash, who's a shark, is on this track as well. This is his track. So you actually have to do this twice in a row. So you have to play the hardest track in the early game twice in a row. Shoutouts to CD Romatron. Don't know if he's here or not, but shoutouts, because he very, very recently found a lap skip in this level, which I will sadly not be doing in this run because it is like incredibly inconsistent to the point where we don't really know what triggers it. But basically, a good lap here would be about a 47, and with the skip that CD Romatron found, you can beat this track for one lap in 21 seconds. So it'd be a 25-second time save every time you did it. But we have no idea how it's done, so still trying to figure that one out. But yeah, new developments in this game are pretty cool, honestly. 49 first lap, not too shabby. I'm sure y'all saw the cycles I was referring to. Here's another one. Yeah, that one is probably the hardest cycle to dodge, maybe in the entire game now that I think about it. It has a ginormous hitbox. Like way bigger than like the actual blade itself. There's some like hilarious clips of me just getting hit when I was on like the other side of the road to it. Yeah, but then there's these as well, which are like kind of hard to see because it's fastest to skip, or not to skip, but to stay on the right, because you can like skip an entire like section of the road because you're just like sticking to the inside. But what that means is that you're kind of blind for the blade cycles that are like right in front of you. So it's very scary. It's one of the many reasons why this track is hard. Not to mention that you want to get to the ground as quick as possible, because in this game, for the most part, being in the air is slow. So you're going to see me stick to the right here and try and land on this as quickly as possible, and then head to the right as quickly as possible as well. That's like a neat little detail of this track as well. But gonna make this cycle pretty lap 2, but this lap 3 was nice. Gonna be a low 47, which is optimal. That was nice. 225. Yeah, that's pretty solid, honestly. It's definitely not bad at all. Pink cutscene, Ray. Basically, if you mash through the podium cutscene where you celebrate getting a trophy, the next cutscene that loads in can just be like pink. Very epic glitch. Yes, game is very good and well made. Alright, in we go. So, again, as I previously mentioned, we're back on Deepsea driving. Again, you have to play the hardest level in the early game twice in a row. In fact, the level that came before this, which was also a Deepsea driving visit, this level and the level after this, is probably like, it's a contender certainly for the 3 hardest levels in the game, especially the level after this. The level after this actually is also 100% the flashiest level in the game. Oh, nice! I got a boost item there. It's not super useful, but it's nice as a backup. I've always said that the boost item in this game is probably the best item in the game for sure. But luckily the item balancing in this game isn't exactly the greatest. So you can pull what is most likely the best item in the game in first place. So definitely benefits for speedrun when it happens, that's for sure. But yeah, this isn't too bad so far. 48 lap 1 is optimal. I don't think I've ever had a 47 before, so that's quite nice. Got to avoid this cycle. That's another thing I should mention. in the boss fights, for some reason, they made the boss fights like pseudo easier when you're ahead. So obviously, as previously mentioned, when you're behind bosses, they spit out their own like unique item behind them and it hits you. But if you're ahead, so for example, like Nash spits out like teeth that like eat your car and make you spin out, which is an item not seen anywhere else in the game, a lot like Crunk's items and the items you're going to see from other bosses. But for some reason, if you're ahead of the boss fights, in levels with cycles in them, which are actually 3 of the 4 boss fights, the cycles just don't go. So it's very entirely consistent. So for the most part, the boss fights are actually easier than the regular trophy races, which is like really quite nice. In case you missed it, like these cycles are just completely frozen, so we can just take the same line every time and know that we're going to be fine. I'm not even going to drift, I'm just going to use the boost item. That's a lovely lap 3, by the way. That's a gorgeous lap 3. 46? Not quite. Still really, really good. That was a really good Nash, actually. Very consistent. So, now that we've beaten Baron, we're now going to move on to Phenomena. Again, as I said, this hub world is home to probably the flashiest track in the game, which is up right now. It's called Out of Time. Hypno Out of Time. Basically, this track has 2 skips. One of them is, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion, the hardest skip in the game. And the other skip is the flashiest skip in the game, so you get a real, like, mixed bag here. Also, I didn't even mention this. The startup boosts at the start of races in this game is actually, like, a very underrated, like, tech that's genuinely difficult. It's quite difficult to time it. Like, the timing is genuinely tight, whereas in the other 2 Crash Racing games that are very similar to this one, star boosts are, like, pretty much automatic. So as the first skip, you want to drift twice and then jump and barely make it. Sometimes it can feel like you got the timing right, but you just won't make it anyway. And sometimes you'll make it, but you'll lose your speed going over it. This is the flashiest skip in the game, and in my opinion, just the best thing ever. You hit the side of the track to get the lap count, and then you fall a lot. And then eventually, you get picked up, and it spawns you right next to the clock for some reason. Again, no one knows why they didn't put a death plane there. It makes no sense. But I'm not complaining, because it makes this track probably one of the coolest things ever. Okay, so that was an example of, like, me making the skip, but losing speed for it. Again, like, there are several timings that work for the skip, but some are better than others. I got, like, the worst timing there. Not going to stop me from making the best skip ever. Also, I'm going to shoot this bomb and it's going to go upwards. Gravity, yes. But, yeah. There are many timings with this skip. But as long as you make it, honestly, it doesn't really matter. If you get the version of making it where you lose your speed, I think you lose about 3 seconds. I am very pleased with this run so far, by the way. Okay. This is actually a good speedrun. And we should make this, and we can, as it's lap 3, we don't need to hit the edge, we can just land here. And there it is, 155. Ultimately, you can get about a 152, but I'm not complaining at all. Alright, so now that that track is out of the way, luckily you will be seeing that track again, as the boss fight of this world is on that track. So don't worry, if you like missed it or something, you'll be able to see it later. It's all good. This track introduces a tech that hasn't been seen before in the speedrun. It's called drift cancelling. Basically, for some reason, if you start a drift and then just let go of R, but keep holding the direction you're going, you'll keep the momentum and like the turning circle of the drift, but you won't be in a drift. And that's very useful, as you can see, when you're in a drift, the tail end of your car like goes all the way out, which means in like tight situations, the tail end of your car like might like hit a wall or something, and you'll lose all your speed if you hit a wall. So obviously you don't want to do that. So for the very end of the track, as you can see by the mini-map in the bottom right, the very end of the track has a really tight, like 180-degree turn. So we're going to be doing a drift cancel through here. So we're going to do 2 boosts, and we're going to do 1 boost, and then we're just going to keep holding. And as you can see, I go super tight, and I'm just able to like ease my way around the corner. That's like a very neat tech. Before I like just kind of was playing around with this game and found out that you could use the drift cancel there, I used to just U-turn, which is basically, it's something you'll see at the end of lap 3, because it's faster at the end of lap 3 because we don't need our reserves anymore. But what a U-turn is basically is if you hold down a direction, so in my case it would be diagonal down right on the analog stick, because I'm on Xbox, not PS2, which of course has D-pad. But that was nice. So down a direction, either left or right, and then square if you're on PS2, and R1 to hop, and what will happen is you will turn really, really, really sharply, but you will lose all your speed from it, because the square or X input, if you're on Xbox, will act as a brake, and obviously braking loses your speed. That's a no-brainer. So you'll see at the end here, because drift cancelling obviously is great on lap 1 and 2 when we need our speed, but we're not going to need our speed for the rest of this, so we're just going to U-turn like that. There we go. So yeah, that was pretty decent, honestly. Besides like the lap 1 maybe losing like a second to going wide for the drift cancel, everything else about that was pretty phenomenal, honestly. Again, this run is like really good. Genuinely surprised by this. Alright, next track. Thunderstruck. If you've played Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, you may be wondering why this track is going to look so different, and it's because there is a lot of anti-gravity, which you will see. This track is probably one of the more like technically demanding tracks, and it's like quite long. It's about 3 minutes long or so. So yeah, you'll see some like pretty tight drift cancelling, but at the same time trying to keep your reserves high with all these turbo pads that are here. Quite a neat feature, I will say, is that if you pay attention, the rain is actually going upwards, which is quite a nice attention to detail. I've always thought that was like quite cool, especially for a game made in like 2003. You might be able to check it out here, how the rain like goes, yeah, it's like going up. I always thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, optimally you want to be getting about 102, 101 lap 1s, and then ideally you can get sub 1 minute laps on lap 2 and 3. However, that is incredibly hard, and I've only really done it like a few times, but I will try for it. It'd be nice if I got it in a marathon. I think that'd be genuinely cool. But yeah, we'll see. So a nice little drift cancel here, so I can just go super tight, because I should have built up enough reserves with all those turbo pads, like this one and this one coming up. Just trying to keep our reserves nice and high. Again, this track, with it being so long, and with there being so many turbo pads, I'm pretty sure you can reach like 150, 160 boosts in this track. Probably more if you like forced yourself to do more. Like if you sacrifice time to like go for more, you could probably hit like 200 even. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, gonna actually jump here instead of going all the way wide with 3 boosts. Just a small little frame saver. This might be a sub 1, honestly. I'm interested. Oh! Never mind. Never mind. Scratch that. I was lying. Guys, I was just pranking you. Get japed. Get destroyed. You never saw it coming. Neither did I. Alright. So, okay, but this probably won't even get a sub 1, or like close to a sub 1 now, because I've got to kind of play it safe with reserves, because I just lost them all to getting hit by that. Oh no, it's all going down the drain. It's fine. It's all good. Again, like, this is only losing about like 3 seconds, I think. So that's all good. But yeah, definitely not bad. I mean, I've seen way worse. Way worse. I was doing practice before this run happened, and I got like a 107 lap at one point. Because I like fell off like an idiot. So, you know what, I'll take it. In the grand scheme of things, that could have been way worse. That'll be a 1 flat, I think. Yeah, okay. That's reasonable. Alright, so, in case you missed the flashiest track in the whole of the video game, you're about to see it again. Because luckily, Norm, who is the boss fight on this track, his track is Out of Time, which is the track we all know and love. So, luckily for us as well, well, not luckily for us, but it doesn't really affect the speedrun. It affects if you're a casual, definitely, but there's another character in this race called Big Norm. Well, he doesn't actually have a name in this game, but Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled went on to call him Big Norm, so he's Big Norm now. Who, like, helps regular Norm in the race and, like, shoots out items as well. But the only person we're really focused about is Norm. And that's because if you have a perfect Out of Time, and you're just playing super well, and you hit like the skips, like that, there is a chance that Norm will be in the perfect position to instantly hit you with his shield item after you do this skip here. So if I have if I have another lap like that, and like at the end of lap 2 I make this skip and I get like a 36 lap and it's all smiles, there is a good chance that as soon as I spawn there, Norm will just game end. There's a genuine chance. It's happened to me a lot. It might have even happened in my world record, honestly. I'm not sure about that, but it might have honestly happened. But yeah, okay, this is going to be interesting. I've made the skips 10 for 10 so far, as long as I make this. Wow, this has been an insane run, honestly. Okay, so you can see Norm on the mini-map. He's coming around to where we're going to spawn. I really hope he's not there. Don't be there, don't be there, don't be there. Oh! That's so unlucky. In a marathon too? Oh, that's so sad. Make the skip to make up for it? Oh, easy game. Game's so free. Now, honestly, I am very, very happy with this run so far. To make that skip, and hopefully this, as long as I don't suck, because this is the easiest skip of the two. Nice. To make those skips 12 for 12, I'm very happy with that. I'm very, very happy with that. Okay, to the final world. This world is called Techni, and besides Out of Time, in my opinion, these are the 3 other hardest tracks in the game. I think Deepsea Driving, the track that you saw twice in not Phenomena, but the world before Phenomena, Baron, you saw that level twice. I think that's probably like the 5th hardest level, or 6th hardest level. I think like all the tracks coming up are in the top 5 like hardest tracks in the game. This is probably the sneakiest track in the game because it doesn't seem too hard, Assembly Lane, but then you realise there's only 1 turbo pad, which means if you make any mistake at all, which involves losing your reserves, and you're after the turbo pad, you have to wait a whole lap to like get back your turbo pad fire and to like start reserve chaining again, which is pretty rough. Not to mention the conveyor belt that I just went over and trying to do these turns fast whilst like not doing too many drifts because, you know, you want to go tight. Yeah, this track is very sneaky in how hard it is. But old school like Crash Team Racing fans may notice that this track holds a lot of similarities between Tiny Arena and and Engine Labs from the original game. And you'd be right, because I think Vicarious Visions, the makers of this game, really did just copy the original's 2 tracks and called it a day. Because this section, especially these corners here, are very reminiscent of the original game's Engine Labs. And then you have this anti-gravity section at the end, going over the turbo pad, very nice. Should be a 43 lap with a little bit of luck. If I've played this correctly. Yep, sure have, very nice. Barely dipping 2 wheels into the mud there, but that's all good. Alright, as I finish this track up, I will hand it over to Ash, who hopefully will have some things to say.
Oh yes, I have quite a few things to say. We have a $30 donation from Dacoet saying, "Whoa baby, wait, this is the wrong game. Giving love to the boy Hypno and the rest of the Crash Team Racing community. Good luck out there and stay fast." Putting this donation to Pi wins by absolutely doing nothing in Crash Bash. Yes, we have another Crash game at ESA that you guys can actually put incentive towards, so take a look at that.
Yeah, for sure.
We also have $20 from What Is CS Inc. saying, "Big Hypno fan, not a big fan of Alzheimer's. Thanks ESA for supporting a great cause." Me too, What Is CS saying, I'm not a fan of Alzheimer's either, but your donation will go towards a great cause and researching preventative measures for it. And then the last one is $50 from Giodo99 saying, "Good luck hypnoshark, great run so far." And let's give a bit of love to Hypno in chat. Thank you everyone.
Alrighty, so next up, Android Alley. Another level actually with some cycles in it. This cycle is going to be particularly scary, especially on lap 2, because as you will see on these pink lines there is a train, and that train is terrifying. If you get squished by it, you go through a really long animation, which can take up to I think it's 6 seconds, and you get squished and you lose your reserves and fire, your speed. So it's yeah, it's just painful. Whenever it happens, it's just disgusting. But I may as well mention, as we're going around the end of the first lap here, I haven't even mentioned the team aspect of this game. Probably because it's completely not important at all, even to casual play really. So basically, you have a team meter on the right, and the more you item people and help your teammate out, the more that'll fill up. Also, yeah, that's the train cycle I was referring to. That is very scary with how narrow the section is. Yeah, the more that meter will fill up, the more you help your teammate out, and once it fills all the way up, you and your teammate will go, well, you won't go faster, but your teammate will rubber band really, really hard. And you'll be able to spam infinite items. However, well, for 20 seconds or so, and it's called Team Frenzy whenever that happens. But for some reason, the items you get are just awful, and you know, you get the same items from going through item boxes anyway. And why would you slow down to help your teammate out at all? We don't care about crunch, except some people do. Don't ask why. Anyway, accidental shot at crunch fans there. I'm gonna get some DMs about that later. But yeah, so we beat the train cycle here. That train cycle there actually used to be a real pain in the neck, before we just got better lines and stuff at this track, because that train cycle would be right in the way of us jumping down there, and it would be very tight to squeeze out to the side of the train, similarly to the lap 2 situation now. It'll be very, very tight, but luckily we're just faster than the train cycle now, due to strat improvements such as this little drift cancel here, just sticking tight. Little stuff like that has enabled us to beat that cycle. So yeah, that again, very nice Android Alley. I'm shocked by how well this is going. Right, next track, the second longest track in the game, Electron Avenue. Again, fans of Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled might be wondering why this track looks so yellow and looks so different. Again, it's because of the anti-gravity and just, yeah, it's a lot longer than it is in Nitro Fueled, and in Nitro Fueled it's pretty long. But right off the bat, we have this big jump here, and we're actually going to zigzag from side to side a little bit to make sure we don't bonk on that like tunnel section there. Because if we just jump off that ramp and we have like too much speed, we will actually like hit the top of like that little roof and we will just die, and it's sad. But yeah, by zigzagging, you fall for the same amount of time, but you're falling like towards where you're supposed to be going less so. So you kind of like drag out like how long, or rather how far you go, not how long you go, because you're in the same, you're in the air for the same amount of time. Here is the shortcut of this level. I messed it up. Basically, if you get a jump, a good jump where you get a lot of distance, you can bounce off the yellow railing to the side of me here, and skip that entire section and basically land above where you are. Because the way anti-gravity works in this game is if you're like somewhere near it, it will like pick you up and like flip your car over so that you're landing on that part. So basically we want to jump off the railing so that we're nearer the part above us than the part below us, and by doing that we're able to get up there and save about, I think it's about 2 seconds, I want to say. Which might not seem like a lot, but over the course of 3 laps, if you hit it 3 times in a row, then that's straight up like 6 seconds you save, and that, you know, obviously can be the difference between, you know, PB and not PB, world record and not world record, etc. So, quite an important skip, even though it may not seem too important. I'm gonna try and get it here. That should do it. There it is. There it is. Very nice. And then the game gets confused and says you're going the wrong way, even though you are absolutely not. It then sorts itself out here. Nice little U-turn there, but I didn't even mention. I'll bring that up again when we do that on lap 3. Basically, we just want to turn super tight, because doing a drift cancel, whilst it would keep our speed, it would put us so far wide that it's just not worth going for. It loses like a second to actually try and keep your speed through there. You're much better off just sacrificing your speed for a much better line. Yeah, again, I didn't even mention these cycles here and how the turbo pads move. They move about every 5 seconds or so from left to right. So it might be like hard to follow at first, like if you're just casually playing the game. But once you've speedrun it for a while, like you kind of get a feeling for like when stuff's gonna move. Let's try and make this skip again. There it is. 2 out of 3, definitely not bad. And both times I made it, I didn't lose my speed. Sometimes when you go for that, you can lose your speed. So here's the U-turn I was talking about. There it is. I barely hit the wall, but that's fine. I had already lost my speed from doing the U-turn anyway, so I like barely lost any time, honestly. And yeah, 108 lap 2 is really nice. 109's perfectly fine. And 113 lap 1 isn't great. I've gotten 109 lap 1s before, so 113 isn't ideal, but it works out. Alright, so that is all the trophy races done. We are now on to the last 2 boss fights. The penultimate boss fight is called Geary. He is a robot who likes cleaning, yes, and for some reason people like this character. I don't know either. So we're going back to Android Alley. Again, as I previously mentioned, for some reason they made the bosses like tracks easier. I guess because they assumed that you would be behind them. Because the train cycle just doesn't go here. But if he overtakes me, I actually have a strat. Bomb? Oh, oh, that was okay. Okay, that was like the best thing I've ever done. I could have sworn that bomb missed him, But yeah, if you go to the left there, you can just avoid the item that he puts out, because he puts out like these things that like kind of barrel towards you. I can't even describe them. I don't even think they have a name, but they basically just barrel towards you, and if they hit you, they squish you. But if you go all the way to the left, you dodge it, because while it does lock onto you, it can't turn quickly enough to get to you because you're that far wide of Geary. But I also had a bomb there, so I was just like, let's try and snipe him and just get rid of this situation altogether, and it worked, and I am now very happy, although hitting that wall made me very sad. Should be fine though. Losing reserves here isn't the end of the world, because it allows you to go more tight here anyway, and then you get turbo pad speed. Probably loses about a second or so. Not too shabby. But yeah. Oh, one more thing. In this boss fight, you may have noticed that on this section coming up, one, this is actually a shortcut. I didn't even mention it because it's so automatic. And two, there are these like robot things here in the trophy. That's another thing that the boss fight gets rid of, because in the boss fight, they actually follow Geary like minions that try and help him out, similarly to the way Big Norm helps out regular Norm in the third boss fight. But yeah, on the whole, for the speedrun, as long as you're ahead of the boss fights, it's actually like easier than the regular trophy races, which, you know, whilst it may seem like, oh, it's a boss, it's threatening, actually it's like, it actually makes it easier for us, which is very nice. But yeah, for the last time in this run, I will hand it over to Ash, who hopefully will have some things to say.
Yeah, I have a donation, a $10 donation from Dylan J. Fox saying, SMH running Crash Nitro Kart, but not the Game Boy Advance edition? Keep shredding it, Hypno, Raxor. And if you guys haven't heard already, we are raising money for Alzheimer's Fonden, which is a Swedish organization trying to prevent Alzheimer's, but it doesn't just go towards fundraising and the research towards it, but it also organizes projects, camps, events for youngsters affected in different ways due to parents or other relatives diagnosed with Alzheimer's, so they can look at the complete picture here. But let me throw it back to you.
Alrighty, just in time for the final boss, the longest track in the game by an absolute mile. Hyperspaceway. I don't believe you can actually do this track on multiplayer in this game, because the console straight up just can't load it, because there's too much stuff on screen. I think that's the case. I could be wrong. But we are going to face Emperor Velo 27th himself. Look at the green alien. What a guy. Alright, so there are two shortcuts in this level. One of them is intended, one of them is absolutely not, and it's in the first 3 seconds of the level. Basically, we're going to stay behind him here, because he missiles you if you go in front of him right away. You fall off here, and it spawns you ahead. That shortcut saves about 4 seconds. So right away, that puts us out of danger of Velo's attacks, which is just the best. Like, I cannot describe how good that is for the speedrun. Because, again, if you're playing this casually, Velo's like items are just the worst. If you get stuck behind him, there's a good chance that you just lose straight up, because his items are like so prolific. Not to mention his 2 minions as well. This is the second shortcut. This is intended, and this saves about 10. This is pretty much like, I don't think I've ever beaten Velo without the use of this shortcut. It's like, maybe it's possible, but I'm pretty sure the game intends you to know that going in. We are going to drop this TNT and go wide so that we don't hit it next time on lap 2 and 3. And we are going to go for this box. Damn, that's unfortunate. Basically, there's a 50-50 chance that you pull either bombs or boosts from that item box. And the reason why that's important is not only the fact that a boost time is obviously, you know, very good, but also the fact that once you make this shortcut and you respawn, if you have I just pulled a boost out of nowhere, you can do that! You can just get back up to turbo pad speed instantly and save a second. I cannot believe how lucky that was. Oh man. But the box that you're supposed to pull it from, I got unlucky, and then a random box that probably has like a less than 10% chance to give you a boost, I got it. That is comical. Marathon luck, yes sir. But yeah, so just trying to keep our boost high, avoid that item there. I have jumped from way too far back. That is a terrible mistake, because I am not going to be able to make this shortcut. Okay, well, you know what? I just wanted to show the long way round. It's a marathon run. I just wanted to show every crevice of the track. I was just being a nice guy. I hope you guys appreciate it. But no, that lost about 12, 15 seconds maybe. I'm not too sure. I've straight up, I can't remember the last time I made that mistake. That was, wow. Just, I don't know, lack of concentration? I have no idea. 3 bombs again, very unlucky. Hopefully on lap 3 I can pull them, but yeah. Missed 2 50-50 coin flips there. Pretty unfortunate, but it's all good. Snipe the Wumper crate, not that it's going to matter, because I'm instantly going to fall off here. Did I get it? Okay. I was really worried, because if that didn't get the unintended shortcut, I may have straight up lost the race, and like, well actually no, I probably wouldn't have, but like, oh man, that would have been scary. Nah, we're fine. No, I can confirm with that mistake on lap 2 where I failed the shortcut, wasted about 9. Didn't waste as much as I thought actually, which is, you know, nice. But honestly, with that being like the only fail in this run that cost over 5 seconds, and this includes a run that does out of time twice, I will absolutely take that. Like, that's frankly really, 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 really good for a marathon run. So yeah, we're coming up to the last 30 seconds of the run now. Time is when I cross the finish line. We're going to go for the boost item again. Yay, there it is. That saves time on lap 3 as well, because it just means we don't have to drift, so we can take very automatic lines. Off the big jump to finish, here we go. When I cross the line, it's time. And time. Very nice. 4:09 to finish. I mean, you can sub 4, but I kind of messed it up there at the end, but it's all good. That is really good for a marathon run. I mean, I couldn't be happy with that. Shout outs to my stream chat. You guys are amazing. I stream pretty much every day. Twitch.tv/hypnoshark. I upload YouTube content to the Hypnoshark YouTube channel. Shout outs to RainKJ, the editor. He paid me to say that. And yeah. Next up, I believe we have Shovel Knight. So that should be a great run. Stick around. And yeah, awesome. Cheers for having me.